All right, we got a couple questions on improvisation. The first one from DR, that's DE space R, Day R. Any tips on improv? I'm a third-year classical player, and I've been through all of the theory classes. I'm currently taking jazz improv in addition to jazz lessons. I understand the concept of changes. I just resort back to classical feel when I play. I get that. And then Sam Loon says, my high school jazz band is going to States and I have a solo that I wish to improv on. Any advice on improv? So, kind of a general basics one, and then one from a classical standpoint, how do you push yourself into that style of thinking? So, both are a similar question, obviously, but I would say listen to jazz, and you don't have an excuse anymore with Spotify and YouTube and all of those things. You can listen to the best jazz that has ever existed with like 3 clicks. So finding out what that is for you and listening to it a lot. And then, so improvisation, if you understand that the chord relationships are there for your help, then you just have to figure out what kinds of things you can play within them. There's no guessing. Sometimes people develop a really good ear so they don't have to look at the chord changes. They can hear them and know where the melody is supposed to be going and do that kind of thing. Or you can have a really good theory understanding of it and know where the leading tones are. I'm going a little more towards the ear side. I think it's a little easier and a little less technical, but in any case, the way to figure out what kinds of stuff you can play is to develop a vocabulary. And in the jazz world, they say that all the time, and they'll make fun of you, probably in their heads, for not having a very, significant vocabulary. So how you expand it is by listening to improvised solos that you really like and playing them along with the recording. And so you'll play like 2 bars, just listen to 2 bars and then pause it, play it back, and go on, and play it back, and go on. And you do that until you're able to play the entire solo along with the recording. And then you could get like a Jamie Aebersold and play that solo. So the first one I ever did was Old Devil Moon, J.J. Johnson solo on it. So this is it's a great solo, but nothing too hard, and he plays within the chord changes. There's nothing like crazy out stuff. So I learned that by just listening to it and playing along with it until I had it, and then you get Neighborsold or something, play along jazz thing, and you play the transcribed solo along with that until you can do it without the recording completely, and then you write it down. So all of this is by ear, you're really ingraining it. And you can go online and find these written out transcriptions all over the place, which are good for analyzing but not good for learning. Because you really want to get that so deep into your ear and into your lips and your arm, and just able to, you've internalized these chord relationships and the melodies that you can play above them. And so that's your vocabulary, or the stuff you can play on it. And it's not like you're just guessing, these are very standard things, and just piecing them together in different interesting ways and bringing themes back and stuff, that's the real art of it. But you have to have a vocabulary in order to say anything. I just said you have to have a vocabulary to be able to say any of thing. So it's true. That's good. This is why we don't edit these. 4 minutes, 47 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. So once you have the solo ingrained in your being, then you write it out. And that's not going to be very difficult for you, because once you have it that well, you don't even need to listen to it. You can just take a piece of sheet music and write it out. And so, like I said, the first one I did, Old Devil Moon, wrote it out, and then you can look up the chords or fake book or whatever, and then you analyze it within those chords. And so after I did this, I just thought he was playing this really cool thing, and then I looked at the chords and I was like, oh no, that's the arpeggio of the chord that was there, and then this is like a scalar thing down to the next chord, and then it's like very, very much within these chords, and you're like, oh, that's the kind of thing you can do. You can play an arpeggio and then walk it down to the next chord. Oh, and that's a 2-5-1. And so once that kind of clicks, you're not going to instantly be amazing. Maybe you'll be amazing at that one tune. So then you listen to other stuff and you find another one that you like. So what I ended up doing was going through the entire album of J.J. Johnson, The Essential J.J. or whatever it was, and I just went track by track and learned every single one. I figured I would sound a little bit more like JJ, and people might think like kind of just ripping off JJ, but it's a good place to start anyway. So that's where I am in the process, at least. And you can analyze the crap out of it. You can listen plenty, and not be listening too much. But doing those transcriptions are really, it's the way to go. And then listening to those tunes is way more enjoyable too after you've done all of that work. I mean, the tunes that I've done are just like way more fun to listen to now, because you can sing along with the solo and stuff. Anyway, transcriptions for the high school one too, transcriptions, but just listen to something that you go, I could play that, or if there's a specific tune you're playing on in your jazz band, just listen to everything you can find with that one tune, and then you'll get a little bit of a better idea of the stuff that you could play on it. Jazz Improvisation 101.